We'll never forget the October 2002 Beltway Sniper case that sparked terror in the DMV for weeks and captivated the entire nation. 10 people were killed and several others were injured in what was believed to be random sniper-style shootings.
This Domestic Violence Awareness Month investigation discovery is shedding light on an even darker twist in the story that we thought we knew, as the sniper's ex-wife and true target shares her untold story in a new documentary.
Miss Muhammad, didn't you know you were the target? You're that sniper's wife. The man that I married was a complete stranger.
Gaslighting, coercive control, manipulation.
John kidnapped the children. He was a ticking time bomb.
Hunted by My Husband, the untold story of the DC sniper recounts the story through the eyes of survivor Dr. Mildred Muhammad, revealing the truth behind the manipulation, the control, and fear that she endured before and during one of the most terrifying crime sprees in U.S. history. She is joining us this morning to talk about her journey and the making of this deeply personal documentary.
Dr. Muhammad, good morning to you. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Let's talk about this and start with this question. This documentary gives us a different perspective than what the world thought they knew and understood through your eyes. What made you tell the story this way? You've written a book in the past and you've been an advocate, but what made you tell your story this way now?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me on your show. We know that every 9 to 15 seconds a woman is abused, but we don't necessarily talk about the 1 to 8 seconds, which is domestic abuse, the verbal, psychological, financial, stalking, spiritual. Those are the abuses that I suffered, and most times it is not on a scale where law enforcement can get involved. That's why I told this part of the story.
I wanted to talk about the documentary using never-before-seen home videos and interviews. On an emotional level, what was it like revisiting some of those memories while you were filming? Can you bring us into those moments?
Yes, my children have always been my heart. And so watching those videos, how much they've grown, running and playing, I didn't have the emotional reaction that most people think that I would have, because I have completely healed from this situation. I am able to speak about my story and then go and help people who need help. So it was just going back to look at them, but it didn't cause me to have any negative reactions.
Now, one of the terms in this documentary, this film exposes, is the term coercive control. It's a form of abuse that many people just don't recognize and don't talk about.
Right.
So what do you hope that viewers learn about that dynamic when they watch this?
I'm hoping that society will understand that you don't have to have physical scars to be a victim or a survivor of domestic violence. 80% of victims do not have physical scars, 20% do. You could be sitting next to a person that is experiencing abuse in their home, but they may be afraid to say anything to you. I'm hoping that this documentary will help them to see the signs, will help them to look not only at their personal life, but perhaps their friend or family member that they recognize is going through that same thing, and they'll be able to help them. I do not advocate for anyone to step into someone else's life and help them. I hope that they would call 911 or give them the National Domestic Violence Hotline number as a resource to help them to get out of the situation. And that number is 800-799-7233.
I wanted to talk, there's so much power, not only in your journey, but in how you are using it to give back to others, to help others, to build others up. And after telling your truth so publicly, what does healing look like for you today?
Well, honestly, I've already healed from this. Healing for me is helping other people to understand that they don't have to do this alone. There are advocates out there, there are organizations out there that are willing to help them. They have to make the choice on when they are ready to leave. And we as a society or family members or friends cannot force anybody to leave. You don't know what's going on in their home. They do. So we have to start trusting and listening to victims so that we can do diligence in helping them to see the abuse that they're experiencing, because sometimes they may not see it and they just need a listening ear to help them to process where they are.
All right, and we want to end with this. For someone who might be out there who might see themselves in your story or a similar story, what is the first thing you would tell them to do to protect themselves or to seek help?
The first thing I would tell them to do is to write down all the things that they need to take with them if they have decided to leave. Social Security cards, credit cards, other information, and then reach out to the police, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, to find out what resources are available in their area. And then once you contact that individual, they will help you with a safety plan and helping you to try to understand where you are and hopefully look for other resources or places that they can move to a safe place.
Dr. Mildred Muhammad, we thank you so much for joining us this morning and being so open, and sharing your journey with us.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, take care.
Hunted by My Husband, The Untold Story of the DC Sniper will premiere next Tuesday at 9 p.m. It will also be available to stream on HBO Max and on Discovery Plus. Now, when we cover these kinds of cases, we would like to remind you that help is available. Here are some resources on your screen. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also chat with someone live at the hotline at hotline.org or text the word START to 88788. These resources are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.